All right, it's time for that amazing super show that you missed from over 2 years ago. That's right, it's the SpaceBro Show. Oh, yes. And guess what, baby? I'm back. And with me tonight is some of my awesome, stupendous frienderinos, like the amazing Sergeant Tickles. Toy Grubbin. Scorpion 66. The Few. And you know him, you love him. Dr. Drones.
Drones.
Dodging out of his seat like an awesome person he is. All right. Gentlemen, it's been a while. What's going on?
Oh. Not everybody all at once.
Yeah, not everybody all at once.
I was like, I'm gonna let everyone else go first.
He used the word gentleman, so I felt
you
excluded.
can tell we're the older generation of Star Citizen because we all waited for everybody else, right? Everybody else.
Can now watch the entire stream.
Oh, it's funny.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Oh, fix that too.
So what's up?
But yeah. So we're using a new platform here for this reunion episode, and I, kind of pitched it out there to the guys. The way we put this together was I know Tickles had hinted at it before on social media, and some of the other guys had, hey, we should, do a reunion show. So we put it out there, and fortunately, most everybody was able to come. So pretty excited about this. Of course, we're missing a couple people. Uber Nerd. He doesn't really do content anymore. He had to, go back to work and stuff. Unfortunately, I put a message out to him. I didn't hear back, but I just assumed, just real life and whatnot. So he'll be missed. And there's been an array of people on the show over the years, but these are the core people for the most part that are still doing content. Sometimes, sometimes there's
is he talking about me?
There's you, and then you could go Luke, or you could go Drones. I mean, there's people doing a lot of work real life, and it happens. So I think it's scaled. It's where everybody's at with everything. So let's go around the room. I'm just curious what everybody's been up to lately and stuff. And we'll start with let's start with Sergeant Tickles. What have you been up to, buddy?
I'm not prepared.
All the focus is on you now. So tell us something.
I have a real person job now, so I'm streaming less, which sucks, but it's also awesome. So.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Sure. Is it like a secret agent spy like real job or?
I can't tell you.
Okay.
Can't tell us. It's magical and stuff. Yeah, I'm still figuring out the interface. So you got to watch me.
We're just gonna pop in and out of existence.
In and out. All right, let's go with Toy. Toy, what have you been up to? I know you won't be here for the whole show today, but what have you been up to, man?
Well, my daughter just turned 18 a little while back. So I've been getting everything prepared for prison and been very busy with that.
Yeah. For you being in prison or her being in prison?
Yes. Well, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see who survives.
It's covering both ends, you never know.
That's
so
right.
It's like it could go either way for him. So,
but yeah, it just seems like the older I get, the more busy I get. It doesn't seem to slow down. So,
right.
Always something.
Always something. All right. Scorpion, how about you?
Things are going. I pared back streaming a little bit because work picked up and it was too difficult to stream during the week and everything else. So I stream on the weekends now, Saturday, Sunday mornings. Still mostly have a good time with Star Citizen, although this most recent patch has been a little bit problematic. But otherwise, it's been pretty fun. And kids are growing up. 2 out of the house, 1 still here. So life's trucking along, but it's all good. Everything's good, and still just enjoying doing all the
Nice.
things and still being involved with the community. So it's good.
Yeah. All right. Well, we haven't seen this guy in a while. The few,
Hello.
Luke. Where you been, man? I'm surprised
first
you
I-
even responded. First off, I was
I
like,
was-
I
I was
couldn't
the-
believe that you actually saw it. It was like, does this man even know what Discord is anymore? I don't know. He's like gone to a different realm.
I was surprised that I responded too.
Oh yeah.
I check Discord like once every like month or two, and I'm like, oh, what's this? And like,
There you go.
oh man! But before I say anything, I want to say, like this, the message is brought to you by XSplit, and
Got to get the sponsors in, right?
anyways, yeah, everything's been great. I've been kind of a watcher of Star Citizen news, not so
Right.
much involved with the gaming community at large. I've been working a lot, and I know everyone says that, but it's been pretty brutal for me. Like literally, like pretty much every day. Like I wake up, work, and then go to sleep. So it's like 7 days a week. So I haven't had a lot of time for gaming, but I do miss it, and I think about coming back, and I do occasionally come back and stream for a bit and play the game. But I love my job, and it's just a lot of work, and that's kind of what I'm doing with my life at the moment. But maybe someday I'll get back into Star Citizen more aggressively. So
part of the retirement plan for a lot of people, it seems like in our group. So it's like once I go full retired, then I'll get back into it. See what happens there.
Yeah.
If it's out yet by then.
Well, Squadron 42 might be out by then.
It doesn't have to be out. You can still play it even when it's not out, and it'll never be out. But that's a whole nerd thing we'll get into.
True.
Nerd thing. Dr. Drones. Missed you, buddy.
Why, hello there.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, man. Been too long.
Yeah.
Glad to get the band back together. That's
Right.
like
You were
the-
also,
yeah.
you were kind of urging and hinting at that too. Like, we should do that. So
Yeah, man. Yeah. I've missed the shows, but much like everyone else here, that whole real life job thing.
yeah.
I did the marriage thing. So,
Oh, congrats.
that
Congrats.
keeps me busy too. Thank you. Thank you.
Congrats, you
So,
deserve to
yeah,
be as miserable
been
as the
crazy.
rest of us.
Yeah.
I am.
All right. Somebody clip that. We'll use it for blackmail later.
No clips.
No, but just working a lot, doing the whole thing.
Yeah, man, work's been intense. But it's it's good money. So how do you
Right.
fight that?
Right. Just padding that social security check for later, right? That's the whole thing.
That's the game. That's the game. Pad that so that one day I can stop working and start streaming full time.
There you go. There you go. All right. Well, it's good. I have to say, I'm glad everybody's here. It's good to see everybody and all that stuff. As everybody knows, I think the last SpaceBro Show, I actually had to look it up, was actually February, I think, 21st of 2020, where I just kind of did a Hail Mary. And I think I
Wow.
had, and it was like, I wasn't even actively playing that much then. I was kind of like everybody else, just kind of following the news a little bit and jumping in here and there. But I think we had Buster Destroyer on it. I think Jake Calvin was on that episode, and I don't remember who else now. I don't remember. But anyway, that was last time we did a show, so it's almost been exactly, almost 2 years. So it's been just shy 1 month of 2 years, and it's it was a needed break for me.
You say 2020 though, right? Or
Yeah.
2021. Wouldn't that be just shy of 3 years? Wait, my math. 20.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Just
would be
shy of
3.
3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've dipped in a couple times, and I'm not streaming wise on that, but I had to take a break from it because doing this content every day, as a lot of people know, is a little brutal. Especially when it slows down even more. And I saw last year, I was like, I did not wish anything on you guys, because I was like, oh my God, the people still streaming it. I was like, good luck.
Last year's when I really stepped away and started streaming other stuff.
Right. I don't think most people, if you did regular content, I don't think you had a choice. I mean, you essentially got one patch the whole year.
I felt like I was in a total, personally, just speaking of myself, I felt like I was in a rut. Like I was doing the same game. I would go in, do bunker missions.
Right.
That's what we did all stream.
Yes.
And I was like, I'm not having fun. I'm doing the same
What's wrong with that?
thing 5 nights a week. It's not fun.
Yeah.
Don't get me
You
wrong,
know-
I like bunkers as much as anybody, but like after the 1000th time, after you've got a collection of 1,000,000 weapons, right? Like you've collected everything there is to collect. You've made all the money. You've added all the components to all the ships you actually fly. Like at that point, at that time period, what was left?
Yeah.
Mining was broken.
Yeah, they broke a lot of
what
stuff that functioned that we did before that, right? So, yeah, it was interesting watching it for ARCs because I at one point I remember I think it was summer last year. I was like, well, maybe I'll look at, and I was like, nah, not yet, not yet. I saw everybody struggling there, but the thing that's awesome about the Star Citizen community is. And that's the thing that I think keeps content creators playing it more than their enjoyment of it is they still support everybody. If you like, I've watched Sergeant Tickles do so many bunker missions when he's going through that, and everybody come watch him anyway. It's like he's doing the same thing he did yesterday and the day before and the day before. So you have to ask yourself, the content creator, it's like, I want to maintain these viewers and all this stuff, but at some point, for my own personal sanity, I have to do something else than this, or I'm just not going to be able to stream.
I stopped chasing the viewer. I
Right.
had to.
Yeah.
Yes. You have to.
That's best for your own mental health, man.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I chase A Corpse whenever I stream. I need him to like, if he's on the stream, then I'm like, okay,
Ooh.
all is right with the world. No, everyone else.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
No, but I
Gotta see
think
that
it's one of those things that I think everybody has to adapt to because Star Citizen is one of the best communities, but it's also, from my perspective, it's also one of the worst ones of supporting a bad habit of us not wanting to walk away from it because it will build you up and build you up and build you up as long as you just do their content. But if you play anything else, it's like
Tumbleweed.
Where
Say goodbye to your viewers.
yeah, where'd he go? Like I remember, especially with Sergeant Tickles, I'd watch him. He'd have 100, 120, 200 people. Then he'd play golf with friends and he'd have 10, 20 people. I mean, it's like anything else you do, it's like, well, can you just go back and rerun bunker missions repeatedly forever? It's crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, and you guys all know this, right? But then they're not really part of your community, right? They're just there to see, whoever now the current person is who's playing Star Citizen, so I can get my fix because everyone's addicted to watching any shit happen in Star Citizen, and that's just kind of what it is. It's kind of nuts.
It is nuts.
Sorry, I was a little salty-ish, but yeah, it's
no. It's
I wonder if we could get an AI to play Star Citizen, stream that for us.
Well, I was gonna say, is there some
back
point
and
where we
BS
just
with the community?
We would break
replay,
it.
rewind videos and just play them again and oh, this is all new content. Look at this. Oh,
They'd never know if we just did that.
I'm gonna replay my reruns from 2 years ago.
Oh man.
Absolutely.
Well, capture your gameplay separately and just put it up and just react to it.
And just act
They'll
like I'm
never
playing
know.
it.
They'll never know.
Oh, you're
How are they
so
gonna
right.
know?
You're so right.
I think there's a lot of streamers that got called out for that with some other genres inside Twitch. So,
Sure.
Oh, really? I missed all that.
It was interesting. There was a lot of accusations and stuff. So,
But can you imagine what that would do to the poor stream snipers if we were just replaying?
You can't
That'd
find
be
them anywhere.
hilarious. That would be fun.
They should be here.
They should be right there.
right on. Well, let's
Maybe they're on a
get
different
into it real
server.
quick. So 2 years ago, I'm trying to remember what the state of the game was in 2020. I
It's
don't
pretty similar to what it is now, I think.
Broken.
Right? Or, I mean, hey,
right,
someone banned Tickles.
but I'm trying to remember where we were. Like, I think patch wise and everything, weren't we actually on 3.9 or something? And then they went back. That's when they went backwards, or was that before that? I can't remember.
No, it was well after 3.9. 2020, if I remember correctly, was a year of terrible desync and them trying to work
Yeah.
from home. It was that was the
Yeah,
311,
COVID.
312.
yeah.
That was right. They had CitizenCon in 2019 in Manchester, and then right after that, everything shut down. So
Yeah,
they had to transition everybody to home.
yeah. And unfortunately, that impacted a lot of businesses and a lot of companies, and Star Citizen was no exception. But you still hope there's some progress across. I hear other companies, not saying CIG still uses this, but a lot of companies like, well, COVID happened and blah blah blah. And I'm like, are we going to use this for the next decade? Like, some companies have to make some progress sometime. It's like, sorry you didn't get your delivery. COVID happened. Like, COVID happened 2 years ago. Let's get some.
And I know it affects it because people, extra being sick and all that and jazz. But like everyone's also saying, "Oh, work from home is more efficient. People get more done." You're like,
Right.
okay, well then, how did COVID not make us like more efficient? Everyone working from home all the time, etc. So it's I don't know.
Because
It's a little bit
working
of a
from home comes with the distractions that nobody wants to admit are there.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're absolutely there.
I don't know. I love my break room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about shit smeared on the walls. It's great.
Yeah, and being at the office has distractions too, right? I mean, like I know when I go in the office, I actually don't have to do that much these days. But when I do, a lot of my time is spent talking to the people that you run into in hallways, and it's not that that's not useful, but it is distracting from actually getting actual work done.
Right.
So,
and of course, in every company, they have those meetings or needless meetings that managers call for meetings on meetings when you're at work. It's like,
We don't do
we're having a meeting
I
about the
shit you not. I had a
Hey.
meeting a couple weeks ago about how we have too many meetings.
all the meetings that I create are very needed. Okay.
they all have an agenda, and they all start on time. And yes.
My claim to fame is I have once been in the pre-meeting to the planning meeting for the actual meeting. That was classy.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
That's dumb.
I feel like when
It's
people going
terrifying.
home from work, that's and working from home, it changed a lot of stuff. For me, I was stay-at-home dad, and my wife was commuting to work 45 minutes each way all the time, and she became work from home as well. So now she's permanently work from home, and they promoted her. So it's kind of one of those situations to where it's like, I don't necessarily have to be here now. So I'm like, do I sit here and keep doing this? Do I go back out to work somewhere? I mean, I haven't been out in actual workforce or anything since I had a little side job, I think in 2015, 2014. But I mean, I haven't actually worked in like my old career path since 2009.
You could be an IRL streamer, Mitauchi. You could get out there. You're
Get out there and be like,
nothing
what is
disconnected.
this? What is this, a lamp post? I didn't know seen this stuff.
Or it sounds like
I have a kid I can tell you for that, Mitt.
Which
So
is right around the corner.
I always
What's right around
wondered
the
what
corner?
his state looked like.
Star Citizen.
Oh, Star Citizen, right? Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's right around the corner. Just
right around the corner. One more pillar.
So that can consume up my time for me.
One more pillar. If I have to hear the word pillar.
Oh, jeez. Buzzwords. They're very guilty.
Listen, it's all waiting on server meshing. Once that's in, everything's a go.
It fixes everything. I know.
So
Yeah.
just
It does. It does. It's magic.
I'm curious. How much has your play of Star Citizen diminished from 2 years ago to now? Like, what was your play look like 2 years ago and versus now? Like, how much do you play? Like, say per week or month, or if at all? Like, I'm just curious. So, Toy, how about you? Because I know you have, like you said, real life too. So it's not just a desire not to be in the game. It's just what's going on with it. So.
I only play when they drop big content stuff. When they put in Siege of Orison, I played the shit out of that.
Yeah.
So I really love Siege of Orison. I thought they did a good job with it. Of course, it's going to have issues and need some tweaking, but overall, I thought it was great. But yeah, I haven't been playing too much other than when they drop something big, go in, check it out. I mean, barely looked at salvage.
They drop something, you're playing, it's hardcore for whatever available time you have. And then it's
a day or two, and then it's like, okay.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Drones, how about you? Have you played at all? Like in
So yeah, I played the shit out of 3.17.4, and then about the time that the first 3.18 patch hit, I was like, okay, I'm just done with 3.17.4, so I jumped in 3.18. That's been a miserable experience, so I've been really, really enjoying KSP. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, is just spending a lot of time out of game waiting for the PTU patches to get, I don't know, better.
Yeah.
And waiting for Kerbal Space Program too. I bet you have.
February 24th, early access, I will be in there.
Yeah, there's a ton of games dropping. Tons and tons and tons. Scorpion, what's your playtime look like?
So It's a lot like the other guys like drones. I mean, I played 3.17.4 and the previous iterations a good bit. Mostly on stream, to be honest. Mostly Saturday and Sunday mornings. We've kind of gotten into a good habit of having a group of us that kind of all play together, and it's been pretty fun. A lot of bunker missions, a lot of collecting FS9s, a lot of all that stuff that you've all done. It's been pretty good. But since they're doing a wipe with 318, and so that killed everything in 317. So there's no point doing anything in 317 anymore because they're wiping everything. So that kind of stopped, and then 318 has been pretty brutal. Granted, it's wave 1, granted it's PTU, all those things, etc. It's pretty brutal though, and today, in fact, I just stopped playing it because it was just not doable. And actually played Ghost Recon Wildlands on stream, so that's where that has kind of gotten to. So I heard Tickles that that's your go-to game when you're not playing other things. So
I love Wildlands.
Yeah, it's a good game, and the graphics and everything hold up pretty well. So yeah, so it's just in that state right now, and it was expected that PES was going to cause all kinds of problems. But to be honest, though, I'm just at the point where I don't have to torture myself to be streaming Star Citizen when it's that terrible. It's just not worth doing. So
yeah, it's understandable. It's understandable. I mean, I think we all got to take it in doses and whatnot, of course. So who haven't we asked? I could lose track. We got so many people here. Tickles. I don't think we've talked to Tickles about like his play times when he gets like all that stuff. So.
I was streaming in 2020. I was streaming it. That's all I was streaming, 4 to 5 days a week.
Right. You're still hammering hard then.
Yeah. And then 2021, I really let off the gas as far as SC goes. I still play it a couple days a week usually, but I mean, I got burnt the fuck out. Burnout. Oh shoot. Can we swear on here?
Yeah.
Nope.
I just got burnt out
on the YouTube.
And then last night, PTU has been talked about ad nauseum here, but it's last night we couldn't do anything. By the time we actually broke the speed of sound, we might be the first players to ever break the speed of sound in game, or speed of light. We started towards Crusader in a C2, and as soon as we went into Quantum, the pilot CD'd or DC'd, right? We got all the way there. He logs back in, and we immediately warp back to Hurston. So we spent the last half of the stream playing Golf It.
It's crazy. Yeah. I think everybody has like a new anchor game and stuff like that. All right, who's next?
I think
you're next.
Gone. Am I?
Oh no.
Mitauchi can go.
No, I was.
Yeah, Luke hasn't gone, and
Luke, when was the last time you streamed?
Yeah, I was gonna say
I streamed. Last year.
Last year.
I think I saw that happen.
Let's see. I would say that I obviously haven't. I don't know. 2021, I wasn't playing that aggressively either. I think my last, when I stopped streaming aggressively, probably 2020-ish. Right when the pandemic was about ready to happen. I think part of the reason for that was because I think the Star Citizen and the community and all that for me was a lot of getting to see people in person and go to Citizen Con and the actual social aspect of it. And when everyone decided they didn't want to hang out with each other anymore in person, I was like, well, screw this. I don't what's the point for me?
Right. For a lot of us like you, it was a social aspect, right? Like the game to a lot of people, and I've heard this time and time again, it was more of a social driver. It's like they enjoy the game, but it's about being able to go to the Bar Citizens and meeting up and do the Citizen Con. So it killed it for a lot of people when those were just not on the table anymore.
Yeah, exactly. For me, that's one of the big draws to the game for me is that kind of community. And I like the game without a lot of content necessarily. It's enjoyable for me because I like the immersiveness of it. I just like hanging out and sitting on a planet's surface and watching a sunrise. That's gameplay for me. So I don't really need bunker missions and things like that. And I haven't noticed too many bugs, but I haven't played the latest patch, 18 something, I guess.
318. It's right now in the current patch on PTU is pretty rough.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because most of my gameplay is pretty typical, which is like you log in, you take a few hours to like, figure out what you're going to wear and get to your ship and make sure your ship's got the right kind of configuration. You get your friends on board. They like finally fly to meet up with you, whatever city that you're in. And then they jump on your ship and you guys are all excited. You find a mission, you quantum towards whatever the destination is, and it usually takes 15-20 minutes to get there, and then you come in for a landing and then you crash on the planet's surface, everything blows up, you die, and you start over again. And that's
your
kind of
gameplay,
my gameplay loop. So
Yeah.
It's not so bad.
I was gonna say, I think a lot of it is too that you share a lot of the perspective that I do, because you've been able to, just because real life and you being so busy, you're disengaged from it. You're not in it every day, so you don't get burn out on it so much. So, and I experienced the same thing. I came back, and a lot of people now have gone. They were still going hardcore, like what Tickles was, a couple years ago. They're doing that right now, and they're still struggling. And you can see the disdain on their faces when I watch their stream. They're just like, "Yep, we're gonna try to do it again, guys." I'm just like, and there's so many more streamers now for Star Citizen. I see like 20-30 people with less than 10 viewers, and they're doing that to nobody. And I'm like, those guys they're crazier than I am.
Yeah, but you remember when all we would do is get in our buggies and go climb mountains on Yella? Like,
right.
That was the stream.
But it was fun though, because you could stay in your buggy and do it for a while before you crashed, a couple hours here and there and all that stuff.
It's
Going
20
out,
FPS, but
all that
it
shit
would
together.
be okay.
Yeah, but going out there, getting all this shit together and just crashing immediately, repeatedly, and then have to reload in and stuff. And I'm like,
I've still been doing some stuff like Gray Cat rock climbing with like the Gray Cat buggies. It's really fun. Like it's hard. Like, and so there's a lot of like interesting kind of like immersive, but not like.
What do you think of the Steve, Luke?
The Steve's good for that. Yeah.
I haven't driven it.
What?
Man.
What? That seemed like right up your alley, man.
It probably is. But the thing that I love about the buggy, though, is that it's not very good. Like, if they improved the buggy, it would actually make the gameplay worse. Like the buggy, if you try to climb big rocks with anything else, it's easy-ish. When you do it with the buggy, it actually takes a lot of skill, and you like have to just be just right and like kind of find the right crevices, and it takes a lot of work.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why like Gray Cat buggy is my buggy of choice.
The buggy racing course is pretty good.
Yeah, and 318 they actually have the racetrack.
Yeah,
it's terrible. How do you?
That's
even
what we were
say
trying to
it's
get
good?
to last night, but the trams
pretty
just stopped
good.
working.
It's fun.
I skipped it out of the track and got it wedged in a light.
Yeah, that can happen.
Yeah, I was like, oh look, you can take you right off the guardrail. It's like, bing, bing.
It feels like you're on a moon with every jump you do. Like there's no atmosphere, and you just take off to the stars in
It's
it.
a little go-kart track. I mean,
You're expecting any vehicle in Star Citizen to feel like it has mass. Yeah, that's.
Oh, that's coming soon, Tim.
Yes, DM, that's right.
Soon DM for sure.
After server myth.
Right, immediately after, and then the next three buzzwords that they add in or whatever. I want a hit list from 2014 on of CIG buzzwords.
Pillars.
Well, pillars is one. Yeah, we'll make a community thread.
So you want some bespoke content?
I just want to see all the buzzwords and when the next ones were introduced, because it's like
it'll be the tip of the spear. Don't worry.
They're adding new ones now. I mean, because they've been saying that it was supposed to be PES and then server meshing next. And now, if you read the letter of the chairman, now we have to get replication layer in and some other little things first. So they're adding stuff in more whenever they can.
Absolutely.
Well, nothing's changed. That's Star Citizen, but
But Socks is going to solve everything. So, wait.
Oh, bro.
Are we on Sock still?
Oh, that's so 2016 or whenever that was.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Socks. PES.
Socks was well after 2018 because we got original in 2018 when Hurston was released.
Okay. Yeah, you're probably.
Although what gets me is they missed an opportunity here because I'm sure some of you guys like me have the socks, right? Why didn't we get Pez dispensers? I feel like marketing really missed the ball on this one.
Yeah.
Was Pez supposed
Isn't that
to be
Sandy's field?
Entity streaming or something? What does that mean?
Yeah,
something like that.
See, they drill it in your mind. You can't forget.
Z.
Remember subsumption? Like,
oh yeah.
There's
Oh,
like
yeah.
that's
Oh, dear.
before they went to just acronyms on everything. That's like one big word, like
Well, they can't subsume things yet because
Yeah.
they don't have the right database and everything on the back end. So.
Right.
You guys have gotten really salty.
Do you think?
I think
You haven't
Yeah.
played. You weren't there.
I'm just a realist. I still enjoy the hell out of the game. But it's like the thing I find the most amusing to do, and other Star Citizen streamers are gonna hate this about me. I go to everybody's channels, all these channels, and I watch them rage out about stuff when they've only been streaming for 6 months to a year, and I sit there and just laugh my ass off. I'm like, bro, you don't even know. You don't even know. It's like, some of us have been here since 2014.
Do you guys remember Backwards Quantum?
Oh yes.
Yes.
that
Yeah,
was
when
fun.
you mentioned
And
being the first to
Sideways
travel
Quantum
fastest-
and
Yep.
yeah, when you mentioned you said you
spinning
were like
in
the-
quantum.
So I heard something mentioned earlier. If we do finally have a CitizenCon in person, are you
Mhm.
guys going?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Maybe.
Because
It's in Los
Where it is.
Angeles.
because
It's
even
in Los
regardless
Angeles.
of the game state, I still love the people. I mean, that's what you go for. What revolutionary thing we'd ever discover at a CitizenCon that we couldn't discover sitting our ass at home?
Oh, nothing. No.
Well,
Nothing.
we've seen a lot of things that we still don't have in the game. So
Right.
fine. But yeah, I would go to see people again.
Yeah,
for
you
sure.
go to see people. That's the
Yeah.
whole reason to go. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't go anywhere. It's like when me and Toy went to Germany. It's like the first time I left the country because it's like a group of people that I've gotten to know across 10 years for playing video games with and whatnot. And that's why I go. It's like, it could be the final announcement of them, closing the game. And I'd probably still go anyway, just because that way I can see everybody.
I mean, that is one of the really cool things about this project, right? Think about all the people it's brought together. I mean, all of our different
Right.
channels and people we've met for that and everything else. And I mean, I'm not particularly salty about any of it. I mean, I still believe in the project. And in fact, made legatus status, yay me. But look, after all this time and everything else, right? You start to take a little bit more of a realistic look at what's
Right.
going on and what they're communicating. And I feel like their communication, as always, and Gin and Tonic will know this, is very lacking, and I think to some degree misleading. And so I just think that we as a community are bad at listening to the words that they say, because we tend to read things into those words, which I think is a natural thing, because we listen to what they're saying and we kind of put it in a now time frame where they may be talking about something that's actually coming years down the pike, right? So
let me frame this a little different without just saying that they're being dishonest, which some people, they feel like they're just straight up dishonest.
Yeah, I don't think
about
that
their
that's
marketing,
true.
right? I would look at it like this: who's more guilty? The people that sit out here and they know by now if they say certain things that we hope it's true, And Jared's been a beacon of sitting there and saying, okay, this guy said this, but that's not what it is. So, and he always tries to quell that down on his shows for them and all that stuff. But to some degree, they have to have that marketing out there to keep the things going. The thing I don't like is the fact that they come out every year and say, this is the best year ever. I'm like, for who? Because it's not always the best year for the people sponsoring your game. It's like, oh, we've had more people subscribe and buy ships than ever. We made so much money. And I'm like, that's great. But to some of us, that's what makes people more bitter about it, because it's like, well, they're going to keep doing this forever, because it's like, this is the way it goes. To me, I've gotten myself out of the mind frame that the game will ever be done. I think that it will always be a perpetual beta, maybe have more feature sets. And I tell people, take a break, wait till the features you want are in the game, then play it then. Because there's nothing you're not going to lose anything. There's nothing like, oh my God, if I don't log in 2 times a week, my ships disappear. You just have to take that mental break, and it takes different levels to achieve that. So
it is extremely healthy, and it seems like sometimes a lost art to go play something else or to go do something else. And I enjoy almost every play session of Star Citizen, but I take vast breaks. So when I come back and I play, it feels a little new. And when a bug happens, it's like, okay, cool, I'm going to go play KSP for an hour and then come back. And it's a little more relaxing than sitting there and it's difficult as a content creator to sit there and say, oh, well, that sucked. Let's bounce to a different game, because then you lose a lot of viewership. It has adverse effects, but as just a player now that I've stepped back from that, it's so much more fun, so much easier to do.
And you feel like there's actually progress being made too. That's the way I look at it. Me coming back, and I was like, oh, 317. I hadn't played it at all until, this past fall. And I played it. I was like, oh, this is pretty good. They got an inventory system. You can loot people. You can drag people. I was like, wow, look at all these changes. And yeah, everybody else had struggled with that for a year, but I was like, if you take those breaks and you get with other gamers and you try other things, like I tried out some RP in a server and doing all these other things. And I was like, I came back and I was like, man, there's some good improvements. But if it gets stagnant to me, I'll just take another break. I mean, that's, I feel like I've gotten to that point now where I feel like I can do that. It hurt at first.
Well,
to go up from hundreds of people watching you to like 20, 30 people, maybe, but I think it's mentally healthy. And I didn't like myself. I didn't want to come on every SpaceBro show. I watched the last 18 episodes, looking for clips, and every one of them, I was so salty. People think I'm salty right now. Oh my God. I was just like, I don't even know what the hell they're doing. They just fire some people. It's like
There's some recent content I haven't tried playing yet, but looks right up my alley that I kind of want to log in and check out at some point. I guess I've seen videos or heard that like when you shoot spaceships and you're flying in atmosphere, like they don't always just blow up; they like fall out of the sky or whatever and crash. Is this true?
In 318, they have soft kill now.
318, yeah.
That sounds really cool. Like that's like
I'm
totally
excited
my
about
thing.
that. That's some of the gameplay we talked about right? Like boarding and FPS and all that. That's the stuff I wanted. Piracy. I mean, that's an actual thing that can happen now once 318.
I always hated that ships just exploded, so I'm glad they did this. I do look forward to, because frankly I suck at ship to ship combat, so I look forward to being on a ship, having it soft deathed, and then getting the opportunity to get some revenge in FPS. Like that's
So I think
yeah.
I think it's a
Hopefully
probability
that's,
that they have programmed that you're going to get soft death versus immediate destruction, and hopefully that changes later on. Excuse me. Once all of the damage is physicalized and they can actually localize it to, like, you hit the quantum drive or something like that when it explodes, right? Everything will be with softish. It is pretty cool though. Actually, this morning, and I'm not all just salt, just so you know. So this morning we came across a constellation that was on the surface of the moon, and we destroyed it, and it ended up just kind of breaking apart and just sitting there. And you were able to actually go and like get on the ship, and like you could still go in there and look around and stuff. It was pretty cool. And if we had had a vulture or a reclaimer there, we could have salvaged the hull material as well. So that does open up like tons of gameplay potentially. And I put it in chat, but like doing multiplayer salvage on the reclaimer is extremely fun. You need like 4 people, somebody flying, somebody doing the lasers, somebody doing the boxes in the back. It's very fun. So I'm very excited for 318 when it gets ready to play. It's just not ready to play right now.
No,
but there's a lot of good stuff in there. It's going to be an exciting patch, I think.
I'll say there's a lot of new things that you can do now that you couldn't do back in the day. I mean, if your ship flipped over, which obviously still happens, we went down to do, you'll never guess, a bunker mission. And we came back up and our Connie was on its lid for whatever. That's not how I left it, right? Dude, where's my car type thing.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, fuck, now we can't get back into it, right? But no, because now we have grav guns.
Yeah.
All you got to do if you have more than one person, right? Knock one person out, use your gun, put them in one of the doors, and boom, you have someone in the pilot seat now.
Right.
You couldn't do that back in the day. You were just screwed. So I mean, there's a lot of new creative ways to solve problems.
Yeah, Toy, what's going on? You get it? Are you heading out?
Yeah, I gotta head out. I'm sorry, guys.
That's okay, man.
So,
that's all right. Well, it was great having you on the show.
Catching up, and I'll catch
Absolutely.
up to you guys soon.
Yep.
Make
sure everybody follows Toy, please, and all that stuff. And,
have a good night, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right. We'll see you later, brother.
Yep. Good night, guys.
Excellent. And then there was
Then there
5.
were 5.
Yep. No, but to your point, I had a blast last night. We actually, Burke roped me into doing one of these big scale battles, right? Because we like what we used to do, and every streamer since then has done, and some people have perfected like full YouTube series off their big battle stuff now.
That was in live, right? Or that was in PU?
Yes, it was in PU for sure. And I was red flagging it left and right. I was just like, there's invisibility bug for FPS players. There's all these other issues. But he wanted to get together, and he had a great point. He said he wanted to build up the friends list and get those things so we could just continue on with some of these events moving forward. And I said, okay, let's wing it. Who cares? It's like I'm not the one that has to be the main guy herding cats. I'll come there and offer my support. It's not a Mitauchi thing. So I'm like, all right, let's go, baby. So we got everybody in there. Burke, of course, showed up about an hour after when he was supposed to. And then they spent the next 2.5 hours rounding everybody up to her L1 as some people bounced off the space station and didn't know how to fly. And I sat there and just, helped out people where I could. But once we got everything together, we went and attacked a bunker that Smashley was at and everything. And we had probably about 35 versus 35 or so, 30v30. It was pretty good. And it was one of the best engagements I've ever had, actually. First time we landed in the zone, we actually landed in a landing zone just outside the objective. I think we were attacking the bunker at Ishmael over by Hurston and stuff. And we landed there 30K'd. Everybody was done, boom.
You don't say.
After 3 hours though of prep and all this stuff. So
what's a 30K?
Exactly. You've been gone too long, my friend. No, but we were able to get right back in because we told everybody on comms, do not close your launchers, right? Do not close your launchers. Just restart just the client, not the launcher. Everybody immediately was back in party and got right back in within 5 minutes. No problem. And at that point, we were able to get new vehicles. We were on attacking within 15 minutes. What took us 3 hours before, after we had all that together, it only took us 15 minutes. Hell of a great engagement. We had nukes dropping everywhere from the A2s, and there were ships doing all sorts of stuff. Even Virgil came in and started killing all the enemy fighters and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's like, because we needed more pilots. Apparently, Smashley had a bunch of ringers on her side, so we used the bat phone and called some people. They came in and cleaned it up. But it was really fun. It was really, really fun. We got all the way to the bunker. We had tanks. We had ballista moving. They had ships and ground support. It was a blast, and we're going to keep doing that. But some of the features I didn't even realize, like the healing features, like Burke got critically wounded his leg. I grappled the back of his collar, and he was rolling around the ground. We pulled him into the Humvee, and then we tried to go up to the bunker, and then he had a sniper pin us down, and I tried to go out and grav gun Burke real quick and pull him in, and I ended up getting sniped, and it was a blast. It was really fun. Yeah. So there's a lot of mechanics now for people that haven't been around. If you haven't played 317 like myself and you've been gone for a while, there's some amazing gameplay, and it's just going to get better with 318. Yeah. It really is. I'm just telling everybody.
You just got to get a server that stays alive for a minute and isn't desyncy as hell.
Right. We had that one crash, and that was it during the entire session. We never had another crash, and that was a fresh server, and the next one got full up 110, and no crashes. And it went all the duration.
And I know they're trying some really new stuff with Gen 12 and Pez and all that jazz.
Yeah.
317 was relatively not super duper desyncy. And I know those are technical terms, but 318 seems like a desync nightmare.
Yeah.
I had pretty good times in 317. I will say that. Yeah.
Not as bad as like 313 days. Those are the dark ages, but
310. I remember when we tried to do FPS battles, and you'd see some guy at way out at range, and they disappear.
He's in your face.
Here. Yeah, and then they're all the way here, or they're running cross-legged. You're trying to snipe him, and he's like there, not there. He's there, not there, there. It's just like, what? Well, do I have to time it right every 10 meters? Just fire a shot and hope for the best. It was crazy. So it's kind of heads and tails better than what it was for sure.
318 server frame rate this morning was at times 0.1 frames per second, and you could tell because we would quantum. You've seen that? Yeah, we would quantum from Crusader to Microtech, and like I would be at Microtech, and Cowbell, who always streams with me, would still be back at Crusader, and then eventually, like some minutes later, he would be where I was 5 minutes ago, and that's kind of how everything was. So they obviously are working through some issues there on that, but that'll get ironed out, I'm sure.
So has anybody tested PES, or is it untestable because of the crashiness?
Yes, it's been tested quite a bit, actually. There's some good videos out there on the fact that you can literally leave a water bottle in like a planter on some station and go back on the same server, a day or two later, and it's still there, which is way.
How do you know you're on the same server?
If your water bottle's still in the plant.
Number up in the display info section.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, if you do the R_display command thing, you can see it, and it'll tell you what server you're on. Yeah. And if you get that same number, you can go back to the same thing. And I think I know Salty Mike's tested it. I've seen almost every content creator tested to some degree, and they come back and there's the bottle, and there it is. It's like, holy crap!
Or the other side of it is don't look at the numbers. If all your shit that you left everywhere is still there, you're on the same server.
Now, is there going to be like Space Janitor gameplay, just like cleaning up everyone's shit, or?
I hope so.
I hope so, because like if it's got a paycheck,
yeah.
Well, I'm just saying the same trash has been overflowing in shoot, haven't been there in so long. What was the original station?
Port Alisar.
Yeah. Porto.
Yeah.
Same
it's a
trash
mess
is overflowing
these days. Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely a dirty station.
Wow, I haven't been there in forever.
Don't worry, Porto's going to get taken care of.
Which I'm not happy about, by the way.
I thought weren't they going to delete it like 42 years ago?
To me, I hope they'll change that.
Yeah,
they're not going to delete it. They're going to crash it into a planet.
I wanted to stabilize Grimhex because I really like doing most of my combat stuff and everything else on Daymar because it's probably the most optimized planet. It doesn't have all the clouds. It doesn't have all the other stuff. And we tested frame rates of that versus like a Hurston, where like people with lower end machines are only getting 17 frames on Hurston. The same people, same machines, we hit 45 frames on Daymar.
But can't you just turn clouds off if you want the higher performance?
No.
Yeah, I thought it's in the settings.
I think so. You can't turn them all the way off.
You can turn them low.
I've turned them all the way off. Like you can turn them all the way off on Crusader.
Well,
at least I don't know about 318, but I
what was that patch that you played last?
I don't know.
2.78. He's like,
I'm the expert here, okay, guys? I'm the expert. I know what I'm talking about.
It was a 3 dot something patch, so that's
he's in the threes, so he's close,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. But so what we've kind of talked about it all. Is there any other features that any of you are excited about in 318 that we haven't discussed yet? I mean, we've talked about for the most part. I think all of them. Was there any we missed yet?
I like environmental things, so I love the idea of them continuing to work on the river tech. I like the idea of sand caves. I haven't looked at any of these things yet, so I have no idea if they're good. Yeah. But anything that adds variety and like wonder to the game.
The move all button.
My thing.
Big fan.
Move all button's really nice. Yes.
Yeah.
Something I haven't really seen anybody.
Yeah.
Something I haven't seen anybody talk about yet is, have you noticed the item port helper option for your like inventory screens? Have you guys seen that yet?
Option?
No. If you open inventory in 318, top right corner, there's a little settings cog. You tap that. There's an item port helper. You check that, and then all the you know how like if you drag ammo over, it pulls out the highlights of where you can put it. It just pops all those out at once, so you don't have to like find the
you
spot.
don't have to
it's
hover
really
the right
cool.
region for it.
Simple little quality of life thing that I was like, huh, that's cool.
I haven't even had a chance to play with cargo
You had
yet.
to literally find a place on your body somewhere, wherever it was, to be able to put the thing. Like, just show me the places it'll fit, and let me pick it, like in Tarkov or something.
Well, no, this pulls out all the ones, even the ones that aren't for like the thing you grabbed. Right? So you can see where all the different ports are.
Yeah, it's still fine.
It's cool. Check it out.
That's awesome though, because there's nothing worse. Well, there are things worse, but nothing worse than trying to get all of one type of magazine off because you're not using that gun anymore. You gotta like go around your character and try to drag the fucking mag off. And
Agreed.
Yeah, this helps with that a lot.
Yeah, they have control click too now, right? Control click or shift click that'll move the item from one side to another. I think yes.
I haven't tried that.
In inventory, yeah. Try it out. I believe.
I know they have the double click auto attach, but I think that was already in 317.
Double click has been in.
Yeah,
I think they also have They have control click or shift click where it'll move it. It's not, instead of move all, it'll move it to the other side, whatever it is.
Oh, I'll have to
Some
check
of
that.
us just still use our auto IT scripts that go.
Yeah, I don't have to use that anymore. Luckily,
I'm not a hacker, bro.
Move all button.
yeah. What?
No,
what,
just get rid of the inventory system altogether and let's go physicalized. Call it a day.
Oh,
No,
you know,
it's not.
You
I'll
just
tell you
got
what,
the inventory
I
system.
am so
It's
this is
not.
this is
Physicalized.
this is a sore subject with me. I am so over the we have to physicalize everything in Star Citizen. Like I know it was cool and it was a buzzword. It was like, oh yeah, we gotta have it physically there because it's cool. It's really there. But after the elevator door debacle like years ago, where doors flew off everywhere because they didn't have them fit right and all that crap.
Oh, elevators are still attacking people.
Yeah, and elevators still murder people
Yeah.
today. Like part of the biggest problems I had in
These
318.
ladders don't murder us as much.
Yeah, but the last two times I even tried to get in 318, you just walk out. Oh, the elevator floor's there if you wait a second, and then you just fall right through. And you go out of the space station, and you're in space. And it's like,
Yeah, but it kept sucking you down. Like it wasn't
Right.
like when you used to fall through the station.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say
ahead.
something, and I know this isn't 318, and this is just me bitching, and Mitt might already know where I'm going. We need updates to the org stuff,
please.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Org
like
2.0.
majorly.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's 1.5 or
Anything.
I mean, org something. Like,
Yeah.
how ridiculous is it that like we can't organize our orgs even from in the game?
Yeah.
Like anything.
Well, we can't do that until server meshing is in. Just so you know.
Don't
Yeah,
worry.
but if
there'll
you're
be
on the
another
same
roadblock.
server,
Wait, it'll have font
No,
meshing.
I'm
in.
kidding.
Like, well, we got server meshing in kind of, but there's font meshing, and the fonts don't work right. So you think that'd be easy? We just change the fonts on both things, but nope, that's not how it works because we have to physicalize fonts, and then it'll be a whole snowball.
I was
thing.
complaining about this the other day on stream. I'm like, we need a place where we need a whole new org restructure type, like that they
Right.
told us was coming. That which team did they say was working on it? I think one of their Canadian teams, at their website team.
I think for most things, PU is all the Canadian teams and stuff like that for almost everything now. I mean, because they've moved the core of what we thought of as CIG is all working on Squadron 42, and it's more the subsidiaries that they've acquired over time that are working on the PU stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, they said that they were working on a new org system like 5 years ago, something like that.
But you
They
know,
said
that
it
is
6
Chris,
years
right?
ago, they
Like
said it
there's
5
5
years ago,
fires
4
going, and
years,
they'll light 5
3.
more, so they probably got
Yeah.
pulled from that to something else.
But the thing
And
is,
they
like,
probably
we don't have
did,
anywhere to
some
meet up
degree.
in game. We don't have any way to talk to our org mates in game on Mobiglass. We don't have nothing.
Yeah.
Orgs are almost dead.
You don't even
except
have
for
a way to
Discord servers.
identify your org mates. I'd settle for just being able to see who is in my org.
Right. And I thought it was
Yeah.
funny. Tickles actually said the dirty word for Star Citizen. He actually had an idea of like having org meetings in instanced areas, like, because it's like you can't have instances in Star Citizen.
You
Everything
mean like an org hangar?
oh, don't say such things.
Wow.
But that was my idea. Was like even if they do nothing else for in-game stuff other than being able to identify your org mates and whatnot,
Right.
but having an instanced area in Area 18 and Loreville and Crusader and whatever, where it's one door, right? But if you're in, say, my org, right, only people that you will only see people in that, or obviously an instance, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one room, it's one org hangar,
Like GTA 5.
Yeah, it's not asking for a lot.
I have a revolutionary idea. Imagine if elevators weren't physicalized and you actually went in the elevator and you went to that room by a button and it was just you went into an instance. And when it opened,
You mean like the Wonkavaders that are everywhere else?
Like every other video game in the world? Like, it's like
Chris will never do that.
Here.
Ever.
My
No,
favorite
he
was a couple
never
patches
will.
ago when the physicalized elevators would yeet through the station and just take you out.
I remember, where was I at? I think it was Loreville or something. I was standing there and the elevator actually broke loose and killed the guy next to me. I'm standing there like, and I just slow backed away from the elevator like, I don't think so, buddy. Like, it was deadly elevators.
Yeah, we were in Everest and they would just come flying through the terminal.
Right. I would say
They're not
elevators.
elevators. They're the Futurama suicide boxes. That's what the elevators.
I was
They've
going to
become
draw the
sentient.
comparison that elevators and SC are the mimics of this game. So they're like, you think they're safe and they're supposed to give you something nice, like take you somewhere, and they just eat you alive. That's the way it works. So
The elevator is the final boss in Star Citizen.
absolutely.
I forget which patch it was that it finally became really obvious that the elevators are not traveling on any kind of track whatsoever, but literally just going.
They're
straight from
physicalized though.
one
It doesn't
place to
matter,
another.
bro. As long as they hover
was-
as a box, like
That was the one where the doors
Yeah,
would show
right.
and you would see them like up at Everest. They would just go zooming off to a pad.
Yeah. That wasn't that long ago, right?
No, it was
No.
recently.
Yeah.
I mean, within the last year.
Yeah.
I think from like the early 3.0 days, you could see the elevators were just traveling through straight line space.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
Well,
a
they
while,
had
you've
them
known that.
going along the arms and stuff for a few patches there, but it took like 14 years to get to your ship.
Oh, I think you might be right, but like I do
Hmm.
remember quite a while ago because I haven't played a lot of the recent patches. Your camera would like sometimes get outside the elevator, or various other things would happen, and
Mhm.
you'd very easily see that you were kind of
Yeah.
just traveling through straight,
no rails,
straight through
baby.
everything. Yeah,
No rails.
but I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. As long as the immersion's there, it doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah, that's the thing for
Yeah.
me, and I think I wish they do on certain things. You know, like certain things that I don't think impact the game in a negative way. Like we was talking about these rooms for orgs to meet up in, which is essentially what the hangars are for us.
Yeah.
They're not. We
Rip
all
the
don't have
hangars.
these huge asteroid hangars somewhere, right? They're essentially an instance type thing in the game, but they want to make them everything physicalized in the end, or at least that's what they've marketed. I think they'll eventually, before we get to that type of feature set functioning again, I think they'll come to terms with that, because it seems like the more they've had these outside teams working on the stuff, they're all about delivering us quality of life stuff now. It seems like not huge features, but we're getting a lot of quality of life to try to make what we have more playable, a little bit more human interface, to where we can kind of, not have to jump through 8 hoops to do something that's relatively simple in another game.
Yeah.
I think that it's getting better about that, and I think it's also because Chris is so focused on he's back over in the UK, and he's trying to get Squadron 42 out and stuff. I think he's let go a little bit of some of the decision making on some of that, and probably they're like, "Look what we came up with," and he's like, "Go with it." You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well,
I don't know
yeah.
much about game development, but I don't really care if things are instanced or not instanced, as long as like
As long as it's
gameplay
immersive.
is, as long
Well,
as the
same.
gameplay works.
Yeah, as long as it
for what we
works.
want it to be.
Yeah. It's
And
about
I
the
don't know any
experience.
reason why the physicalized aspect of things would get in the way of what Sergeant Tickles wants, but I don't know.
I think
I
it's
think
more a talking point for SC though.
Yeah.
Don't you think, Scorpion? Because they always advertise like, it's physical here though. The Star Trek
So I
doors
think-
don't magically go on the walls. They actually have to have room to go on the walls.
I think it's a really big thing for Chris, right? I
Yeah.
think Chris is I think he's a true visionary. I think he's somewhat of a perfectionist, maybe a little bit overstated, but I think he understands development. He actually writes code. Like he's no dummy here, right? And he's written games, very successful ones. He's done all those things. I think his dream is to literally recreate like the real world in this environment, right? So
Right.
that's where I think a lot of this physicalization comes from, right? Because you can create these kind of visceral real world experiences with real physicalized things in the game
Right.
versus just gamifying
Yeah.
everything. And so I think that's where his head goes. I actually think that you're right. I think the Squadron 42 development and having to rein some of that in to make it a game that will be
Yeah.
fun for people to play is kind of offsetting that to some degree. So I do think that's going to help some, because I agree with everybody else here. I don't really care as long as the game experience is a great one. If you have to fake it in some places, then that's fine. I don't care. Like the elevators would be a great place to fake it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like just
I
close the
don't know
door.
anybody in any game that's ever
I mean, they
complained
are.
about like, my elevator's not physical, so I'm really pissed
Right.
about it. I've
Now,
never
where you
heard
can
that.
see the elevators, like in
Right.
Grimhex, that makes sense, right? Make that physical. But the other ones, yeah, fake it, man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, go for it.
Oh, I was just gonna say, certain things I like that they're physical. I like that they make ship components. They have to fit like realistically.
Yes.
I like that.
Agreed.
Yeah.
However, I don't give a shit where my elevator goes.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
really don't like it when my elevator kills me and just murks
Right.
my buddy standing next to me, right?
Right.
Right.
And
Right.
and also like in the case of the whole org hangout, just for an example, that would be like V1, right? So what if it's one physicalized or one physicalized door that takes you
Right.
to an instanced place?
Correct.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Maybe later down the line, you can have an apartment building, right? Or whatever. And a certain room is yours, or a certain hangar is yours out of a fleet of 47,000 hangars.
Sure.
But for now, can we just get a fucking meeting place?
Although an instanced elevator might kill you just as easily as a physicalized one. We don't
might.
know.
That's true.
There's enough real estate on these planets that you could do it instanced, but everybody would understand or think or potentially it could actually be real under the ground somewhere, right? It wouldn't
Mhm.
have
Yeah.
to actually be a place. So
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
look
exactly.
at the expo halls and stuff.
yeah,
Like they're underground. They're what 11, 12 clicks
kilometers
underground.
underground. Yeah.
Right.
If I were guessing, which I am, I guess, about this, I would say that there's probably like long-term immersive gameplay when you get to really complex, future-facing, like immersive gameplay that's like beyond what we normally expect in games. I imagine doing all this foundational physicalized stuff would make that more possible. And that's
100%.
probably what's in Chris's brain. He's thinking about that crazy distant future state. But
Right.
the unfortunate problem is I think in the short run, which is unfortunately 10 years in the making so far, in the short term, it means there's a lot of foundational work being done that is actually maybe worse gameplay than we would otherwise have received using other methods. But if we don't go through this kind of painful, kind of physicalized, like overly engineered virtual worlds, that we might never get to the like that crazy future state that Chris is imagining. I mean, that's just a thought, but
Right.
I
And
think
I'm not
that's
against
100% correct.
Yeah.
That's 100% correct because if you look at what they're doing, actually creating like in-game real systems that actually do things and function, and it's painful right now. But that means that we're going to automatically get a bunch of stuff that just comes along with it later on, right? Emergent gameplay and other things. I think you're absolutely right. I'm sorry, I cut you off, Tickles.
Oh no, I was just I agree. I think in the realm of ships per se, I've always said like people, oh well, my ship Banu Merchantman's not. If the Banu Merchantman would have come out in 2014 or whenever, you sure as fuck would not have as cool of a ship as it's about to be.
No,
Right? I don't care that a ship takes longer
Right.
because the ships that take the longest are going to be the best by far. So I don't care that a ship's in the pipipeline longer.
We'll
I
just
don't care that
rework
a
the other
certain
ones, though. is
feature
my
is
argument
in a
against that.
pipeline longer.
I mean, you know what I mean? They're just going to rework all the other ships. They've proven that. They're getting ready to redo the 600i. They just go back and
Well, that's
redo
because
it.
the 600i sucks ass. There's a difference.
But everything sucks ass whenever you go to the new stuff, the next
the-
new thing.
the 600i touring is a death trap. There's like one tiny little door in the
Yeah.
entire spaceship.
I agree.
But my whole point is I don't care if something takes a little bit longer, because if we would have gotten the game that was quote promised in 2012, we would not have anything nearly as cool as what we have at the moment. You would have Elite Dangerous where you can't even fucking walk around.
Yeah.
Very, very true. And the thing for me with all the stuff, and we'll get into this, and I'll get you guys' takes on it too. We had the letter of the chairman come out, which was not really expected, right? We didn't know because of the way things have been kind of paced. Generally, Chris puts them out at the end or the beginning of the year or something of that nature. But we had that come out. So I just want to, without diving deep into every aspect of it.
Raise your hand if you didn't read it.
There's a we'll glass over it real quick. Basically, it was it was the typical thing. It was the whole. Let me see. I'll screen share it up here real quick. But it was the typical letter. Probably look horrible on this, but I wanted to test this anyway. So, let's see.
Well, is that Banu?
Exactly. I don't know. What an alien language is this?
Just here, there's a picture here. We'll go with the picture part. Don't worry about the word.
Oh, a picture.
Pictures.
That
was pretty good,
Now we're at
actually,
the altitude of what we're used to dealing with here.
The picture that has nothing to do with the current implementation of that.
I was
show.
going to say that's not where the lasers come out of.
Yeah, exactly. It's like nothing like what it's really doing.
Hashtag artist rendering.
This could be
those are the
we
future
might be looking at salvaging 3.0 here. You don't
those
know.
are the future tractor beams that'll pull the items in that get chopped up.
There you go. So just
Right.
looking for the
You're
future.
a future
Perfect.
tractor beam.
No, it is
Perfect. No, basically we went through. He goes through and just to
coming next week.
summarize.
Soon.
He talks a lot about.
Somebody tag me in 5
Hey,
years when
Mitt-
that comes out.
Mitt's explaining this to me.
Yeah. He talks a lot about where we've been at with the challenges they've had through 317. He didn't really come out and say it was their issue of only releasing one patch, but he talks a little bit about the challenges of PES, talks about the PTU, he talks about all those other aspects that they didn't quite make the mark on, like they had promised in the previous letter. And I think the main aspect why I was getting at his response from you guys was the previous letter, which I read, which was the one from last year, the beginning of last year. They had
It was
originally
quite
tried to
hopeful, if I
target
remember.
maybe, very hopeful, very like we might see
Mhm.
4.0 at the end of 2022, all those type of things. This one I think was a little more grounded, but again, they also talked about things like this right here, another record year of growth. At what point do you guys feel like these are just mostly PR and it doesn't even really matter what it says and you don't even
Yes.
pay attention to it at all because
My answer is yes.
or do you still believe
That's why I haven't read it.
Okay, well there you go. There's the
Yeah.
answers.
I mean, also to be fair, like these things get written not just for us, but they get written for the company too, probably. You know,
We
what
have
I mean? It's like the
shareholders, well, not
employees.
shareholders, but
Yeah, everyone. It's kind of like, hey, we're successful, and everyone, they are successful in a lot of ways, obviously. So I don't want to take that away from them, but yeah, you're gonna always be putting your best foot forward with these kind of documents.
Right.
Maybe this is too far
Well,
on the
year
hyperbole,
after
but I don't know.
year, it's like every year you're amazingly successful. At some point, at least from my perspective, I would start to get concerned that people are looking at like, wow, you've made more money than last year. You're touting about how great it is, all these new people, all this stuff. But you're not like, I feel like most of us who've been around for four plus years feel like the progress that you see each year is getting smaller and
Yeah.
smaller and smaller and
Does feel that
smaller
way.
by year, but yet they're making more and more money,
Yeah, and obviously we can try to attribute that to them not showing us as much, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So I have a
I would like to
surprisingly
point out-
less.
Oh, sorry,
salty-
go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'd like to point out that yes, we do see less and less, and I agree. However, when 4.0 comes out, they're releasing a whole ass system.
That's true.
Yeah.
Not
They're not
planet by
releasing it
planet. They're
planet by
working on
planet.
that as well as new features that are going into that whole
Yeah.
system, like the whole base
Yeah.
building and all that jazz. They are working on stuff that we don't see, that we're not getting patch
That's
by
true.
patch, because eventually they're going to do a little mic drop on us that we've all been waiting for years.
Yeah.
That holy shit! Wow, we just got a whole system to explore,
Right.
not
And it did
just
take
one
them-
planet with no
and
moons.
It did
But-
take them 2017 to 2022 to finish Stanton. That's like a long time. So anyways.
Yeah.
I
Dude,
don't
it's
know.
not-
I'm going to be honest on this one. I don't care how many places to go they add. That
Well, I do.
does not mean a thing to me. I
means
don't.
something to me.
Like you give me 500 more places to go, but nothing new to do in those places.
You don't know that
it
there's
means
nothing new to do, though.
Give me more new things. Well, if there is, that's great. I'm all
Yeah.
for that. I'm just saying that I make that distinction that like having pyro by itself isn't a big deal to me so much as it is there needs to be new cool activities
You can't
to
talk
do there.
Scorpion.
Right.
I would
Oh.
say that it's great though, drones, because you're exemplifying the fact that we all get something different from the game.
Yes.
Yes.
I care about the new places.
We'll
Yeah,
just put
I'm-
you up there so
I'm
that way
jumping
This
in
is
now.
Scorp's big. Let him talk.
I have a surprisingly unsalty or less salty take on the letter. Actually, so there was something I was a little bit salty about, but not that part, right? Them touting the fact that they've had more people come in than ever, that they have a 90% conversion rate of new people to actually buying the game and staying in. Like that is impressive. and that tells you that people are very excited for what this game could be, right? I think there's still a big issue on bridging that gap from what it could be to what it actually is. The bigger issue I had was later on in the letter when he talks about how much game there is already.
Yes.
And right, talking about the fact that the game already has so much in it, more than like other whatever things. And my big fear there is that that he actually believes that, and so that makes me a little bit concerned that maybe there'll be less focus on actually making a game and just having it be more like a Luke game, I guess, where you just go in and look at the planets and stuff. And not that there's anything wrong with that. I enjoy that as well.
A galactic sand.
That's okay. You're just shitting on his love. That's fine.
No. I enjoy that as well. And the game is beautiful, and that's all amazing. But I also do want game elements in there, right? So anyway, that was my big concern.
I'm gonna disagree a little bit there, Scorp. I think there's a ton to do in the game. There's a fuckload of stuff. There's a whole lot of places to go do anything. Like Mitt was talking about earlier about going and attacking a bunker. The fun is there. All the elements are there for you to make your own fun.
Yeah, but
now if you were looking for a more guided experience, like quests and stuff like that, yes, it is lacking. However, there's still 5 to 8 different types of quests to go do.
Yeah.
You can play good guy, you can play bad guy, you can go hunt someone across the damn
and to support the amount of content that is there. And I get both points here.
We've just been playing it for so long incrementally that it seems like there's not much to do because we've done it all.
That's true, but
if you're brand new coming into the game, there's tons.
There's a month or two for you right there, right? But what about the rest of us that have been backing this thing? What are we going to do?
Well, and there's definitely a lack of focus on veteran players, in my opinion. Veteran players who have been around, and this is with not just with Star Citizen, this is with every game. Veteran players that have been around are not as focused on as new money, right? A new player, like I got my friend Bodus a game package. First time I've even spent money on Star Citizen in 2 years. I got him a game package because I wanted to show him around. And that's exciting to me, introducing somebody to this, because then everything's fresh and new to them. To me, I could go through the motions of everything I did or whatever, and I still like the new content that's there in the last year and a half or so. But for me, taking him and watching him try to figure out how to fly and him trying to do all this stuff, that's really cool. I enjoy that a lot. It's really, really fun. The challenge is that's great for a new person. I'd say a new person has, depending what game features they're excited about, because a lot of people are introduced to Star Citizen much like we were. You could do anything. It has open possibilities, so they might have a certain feature set that they're looking forward to that's not there yet. But for people who like transport, people in 318 now that's coming out that like piracy or cargo or any of those type of logistical things, there's a lot of gameplay for them still to kind of create themselves and whatnot. The thing I think on the other side, though, is the lack of focus on, some of the veteran players and what they get burned out and stuff like that. And there's really not a lot of encouragement there to keep them playing, because when they tout these numbers on stuff like, the letter from the chairman, in my opinion, they talk about how many citizens they have. And they talk, well, we've had this many active players over the last month. And that makes sense. You're dropping a big PTU and a lot of people excited about all the stuff coming. So they come through and they try it out. What defines activity? Like, is it they logged in for 5 minutes, an hour, 2 days, a week, whatever? What defines you as a citizen? I've talked to people that have given up entirely on Star Citizen, literally told me that. They backed it 3 or 4 years ago. And I know at least 15 people that are they still citizens? Do they count those? Like, we have now 5 million things. Do you have 2.5 million of them that aren't playing the game? They bought it like 10 years within the last 10 years, and they're just not even playing it though, and they don't care. I'm just curious.
I'd like to point at the guy in the middle over there.
But
yeah.
I still back the game. I give them like money every month.
You can't anti-back the game. Let's make that.
No. My point is,
I continue to put small amounts of money in every month.
Right. Yes, but you are Legatus. You were there, right? You're a high tier backer. But I'm not the only one on this panel.
Yeah,
and there's nothing wrong with you not playing for now, right? You're taking a break. You're doing work. When something big comes in, and I have no problem with that. But yes, he is still counted as a citizen.
But
Mitauchi,
what about the people
transfer a
that
high
said
five over
that
to
basically
Scorpion
say
for me.
FSC? I'm not playing it ever again. I mean, do we count all those people as citizens?
So I'm
On
not
a
an active
spreadsheet,
player,
yes.
but I'm still a citizen. Does that make sense?
Mitt, I'm gonna have a beer or two, but I promise I won't puke.
Please, please don't.
What could go
Nobody's ever done that.
We won't talk about that ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
doesn't happen?
And let me just back to what Tickle said. So I agree with you. There's a lot of stuff in here to do. Certainly, a new player has months of content, even just including learning how to fly your ship and seeing all the places and all that kind of stuff. And then you do the bunkers and all the stuff. There's tons of stuff to do. I think for us older, longer time backers, I think we're looking for. I'll speak for myself. I'm looking for more complete loops, right? So like NPCs is a big thing. Functional NPCs that actually do seem like they are people in the verse, right?
Yep, I want the
experiences
Quanta.
where you can have those kind of things, right? I think
Functional,
that's what
beautiful, smart, intelligent female NPCs that I can marry and then never have to leave the verse.
yes,
Oh,
or
wow.
that as well. Sure, hey, you do you, absolutely. Either way, whatever you'd like. This is our verse.
Absolutely.
No, I agree. The NPCs are gonna make it alive someday, when and if they show up.
Yeah.
You know, and one of the things
And,
that highlighted that specific point to me the other day is we had logged in for me to do that battle thing, and my buddy Bodus, again, new player, he hopped in and he was at Orison, and he's like, he ran over to the sign that says transport, civilian transport. And he was so excited. He thought he could hop on a ship and get a transport, like a taxi to somewhere, right? Because they've talked about that before. And
Not yet, my
And
guy.
shown it.
but it's not
And
in
shown
yet,
it.
you know. So it's like there's a lot of things that they could even add this year or within the next year. They're just, you know, to us a lot of small things, but think what a difference civilian transport would make in here if they just had stuff coming from the city to maybe the station above them, you know, is like back and forth. There's so many little things.
Or what if that was a mission to just do that? Like, you know, as a player. So to fill in, you know, and then if nobody's accepting it, then have NPCs start doing it.
Right.
You know, I think that, you know, because there's people that do want to do that. You know, the Starliners.
I mean, you kind of
absolutely
can, right,
the
with
thing they're
defense and
looking at.
stuff.
Kind of.
You
If they
can,
fleshed
but
it
not
out
so much
more.
scheduled.
Yeah,
The
they're a
thing
little
is-
brokenish.
Do you guys remember back in the day when they being Chris Roberts said that this is going to be a 90-10 ratio NPCs
Yes.
in the verse
Yes.
to players?
Yes.
So far, all I have for NPCs is this.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
They can't even sit on a chair correctly.
Right.
We want them
Are
to
there
fly
moonwalking?
people back and forth.
But they stand on planets and moons now too. So
I mean, they do it, but they attack, right? Even though those frame ships that come out and stuff, when they do, their things, they're just a skin on top of that. So I mean, it's not outside the realm of possibility that they could be in a Valkyrie and you could load in.
My point is I want them. I can't wait for it.
yeah,
right.
Because you
I have to
will
think-
see of the verse alive.
Mhm.
yeah.
When right now you see one other ship flying around, maybe, right? Like
I have to think that
NPCs
they
are going to
have
be
them-
hella important.
I think they have them working on the servers that they run on internally, and I think they have them working pretty well in Squadron 42, right? Because they're tweaking their actions, and they're making them really smart. I think the server tick rate is what's killing a lot of that for the NPC piece. So just like everything else, server meshing will fix the NPC problem.
You know, it's like I
Hashtag
appreciate
server
that,
meshing.
but I hate the fact that server meshing has become, in my mind, the new word for God patch, because it essentially has. Because and this is CIG's own fault, because they use it as the verbal reasoning for every single thing in the game. What you don't have is because of server meshing. And my fear is, what happens if server meshing doesn't work?
Socks?
So-
Anyone?
It will. So I have thoughts. So it will work, and here's why.
Argument,
Right?
it doesn't, though.
So but
If it doesn't, they're sunk.
But look at the very first implementation of server meshing, right? It's going to be instanced servers, right? So you may have a server, instead of doing the whole Crusader system or the whole stand system, it's going to do maybe just Crusader or just Microtech or just whatever, and you'll get handed off from server to server, right? That's static server meshing. That can easily be done. That's not even a problem. If they had to, And if they had to bail on the whole idea of no loading screens, like anybody really gives a shit,
Right.
I do. I like the no
and they
loading
would just
screens.
load you. Yeah, it's great.
We
But
have
if they
one
had to
loading
load you, if they load you during quantum, you'll never know, right? If quantum is your loading screen, you'll never know.
I'll be totally
So-
honest. If I couldn't jump anywhere and I could just select Pyro or Stanton, I would 100% be playing in Pyro right now if they'd let me.
Yeah. So I think that is easily achievable. Every other game can do that. So that's kind of the fallback position. So I don't think they're very worried about that. The full on dynamic server meshing, that I think is a step further, but I think that can pretty easily be done as well using cloud technology and handing off. The reason they have the persistent entity streaming and the persistent replication layer is because they need to have one database, one place that all the servers can read from and
Right.
write to,
It's
right?
PES is very important.
Correct. So once they have that, I literally just say, hey, I'm going to move you onto this other server, and that server starts reading from that database instead of the other one, right? And you shouldn't even noticing on your own. That's the idea. And from my standpoint as an engineer and software person, it sounds very feasible to me. And I know that though that there are fallback positions they can take if for some reason the full-on dynamic doesn't work. There are fallback positions that aren't even that bad that still get us to the end result of that. So I'm not really worried about that at all, actually. Personally.
Okay. We're getting near the last half hour of the show here, so we're going to go around the room and just talk quickly about what you're looking forward to, what you think they may or may not be able to bring to us here this year, and then we're going to open it up to questions from chat and whatnot, and then we'll spend the last half hour doing that, and then we're calling a wrap. So we're not going to have a 5-hour podcast. Sorry to disappoint everybody. We're going to keep it 2 hours. I promised the panel that's what we're going to do, and even though I'm having a blast, we're going to try to keep it down to the 2-hour mark. So let's go ahead and start out here with, who wants to go first? I don't want to have to pick everybody all the time. Who wants to go first?
I think Luke.
Sergeant Tickles.
Sergeant Tickles? Well, I chose Scorpion.
I went first.
All
right, I can go first. That's fine.
All right.
So my hope is that knowing how foundational and how fundamental server meshing is and all that cloud technology is for them, I hope that they get persistent entity streaming fully working and the replication layer fully works. And I hope that happens over the next, let's say, 6 months. And then they can very quickly transition, because they've already been working on this stuff on the back end, to being able to do instanced servers. So static server meshing, where they can have large groups of people in a planetary system, let's say, and those people get handed off, right? That should be able to happen this year, in my opinion. That's on the tech side. I think on the feature side, I think that they should be able to advance salvage a little bit more. I think they should be able to get the beacon stuff fixed. I think they should be able to improve on some of the stuff we already have. I think if they can manage to do that and get everything else kind of polished, I think it would be a reasonably good year, right? Knowing that then takes us to Pyro and everything else after that. I think that would be a good year.
Okay. I think that's a good answer. Good answer. All right, let's go with Sergeant Tickles next.
Well, I think a nice place to I think they could get a place to refuel in space, like out away from a planet or something. Maybe call it something catchy like Cryastro.
I love that.
It'd be really cool if we had
like
like this awesome voice. Could be a female voice. Call her Tessa if you want. You can give out missions. That'd be neat, right?
What about Darnell's widow? Can we bring her?
We'll never know. Actually, that's what I think is going to happen. They're just going to keep recycling game. Everyone will forget about stuff, and they'll just bring it back around. Honestly, I would hope for Pyro and server meshing. I think it's lofty, but it's been the goal for about 4 years now. So we'll see. And all I'm going to say is, I will see whoever's going to CitizenCon. Hopefully it happens this year. I plan on going. I hope to see you guys there if you guys go.
I plan to, if I'm at all financially a bit able to. I will be, for sure.
Yep.
All right, let's see. Let's go ahead and throw drones in the mix.
Okay, so I'll pick up where Tickles left off. So are we getting an Airbnb as a group or what?
I
I
would
think
say,
we're too loud.
Like,
No
are
one
we
would
doing
want to
that?
sleep in the same roof.
yeah,
I think we could.
I'd be fine with
Good.
doing something group wise for sure. It's
I'm still trying to
Okay.
talk the wife into going.
Oh yeah, I definitely would try to bring the whole fam if I can this time. Kids are old enough.
Well, with or without CitizenCon, I'm actually more interested in the in-person events. I went to the recent Bar Citizen in Orlando that we do as kind of like a statewide down here in Florida, and had an amazing time. So like that's always to me the thing is like, and I think Luke said this earlier. It's like the getting together with people and talking about where this can go and seeing the other points of view, because I know what I love about the game, but I love hearing what everyone else likes that I don't necessarily care about. You know, it's interesting to me that places are more important to some people than like what we do there, right? Like I don't see it that way, but I love hearing the diversity of it, right? Just so many different points of view of what people like, what they hate, what they, you know, what they want to see come, what will probably never come, and then, you know, the stuff that has already been talked about that may come, we don't know. Just that whole wide variety and diversity of opinions is what I look forward to in Star Citizen.
Right. Well, I don't know if you even know what's what's coming out in 318 necessarily, but
Yeah, I think it would be really great if they had persistent entity streaming, entity streaming in the game.
Maybe soft kills.
Something about
Yeah,
servers.
maybe some soft killing. When are they going to get salvage like tier 0 in the game? I don't even get it. Okay. I don't know.
I don't
the
know
game
why we
for me,
invite him, by the way.
the game for me has always been about immersion and community. So those two components. So anything that increases that. So when you guys talk about better organization or org structures type stuff, I really hope to get more of that complexity to help us, like, you know, work together and exist together in the verse and organize things. But more specifically, the immersion side, anything that creates immersion. I think when I first backed the game in 2012, I backed it partly because you were a person inside of a spaceship, not the spaceship. And for me, it was the idea of, you know, drinking my Earl Grey tea while stars flew outside the window. You know what I mean? That was what I was backing. And honestly, we've got that and more. Like I've got the original promise of the game. So like I'm happy with what's come out. But you know, you always want more. And so I think the immersion that I want to see is fauna, megafauna, interesting, complex planet ecologies, you know, and geologies and things like that I can go explore and exist inside of. Maybe like, you know, I'm going to go take a stroll on some random jungle planet and explore. And all of a sudden I hear something and I'm being chased by a giant evil monster, or I don't know what it is, but that kind of stuff I think would be a lot of fun. Yeah, I think I don't really care too much about combat gameplay, but it can be fun. I love anything that has to do with like making making realistic like component, like physicalized components in spaceships. The idea that, like, you know, if you're spooling up your quantum drive when you take a hit, maybe that causes you to blow up, versus if your quantum drive is offline, you don't blow up. You know, having all that kind of extra complexity in the ships and stuff, I think would be really fun. So I don't know. That's what I hope. Immersion as we go forward.
Sounds
Whatever
good.
that is.
Sounds good. All right. I'll do mine real quick. I'm shooting much lower than most of you guys for most of the stuff. I'm actually super excited just about what we have in 318 with the soft kill, the ability to maybe do some minor repair and stuff. And even though when the best way I can describe the tier 0 salvaging is like power washing, I get the same satisfaction, right? It's like from the power washing game. You think it wouldn't be that much fun, but it is. It's super relaxing, and you're like, you know. And if you got a reclaimer and you're doing it to like salvaging 890 jumps and stuff, it's like 100K an hour you could make off that stuff. I was like, wow, just power washing, huh?
So
like,
basically, get a couple 890s lined up, go reclaim them, like literally go reclaim them, and then go insurance claim and keep cycling that out.
Right. And if you do as a team, you just have a guy always undocking an 890. It's like, bring the next one through the power wash. Let's go. You know?
Yeah, we could do car wash streams. Just like,
there you go. It'd be great. Wear your hot pants at it too. It's
yeah.
Like, No, but I'm hoping for more of that. I do want to see, and I'm hoping they are able to do this. I want to see like the lowest tier of quantum available, and what that would be in my mind would be price influencing as far as commodities. So when people are shipping stuff, like there's a demand here versus there. And so that would influence the piracy and transport and those type of things, even at a very low level.
So
And
like
if
the
that was
Quanta, basically.
yeah. Yeah. So just the very entry level. It doesn't have to have a whole bunch of AI physicalized, flying everything around, all this stuff. But even on a player level, even through mission sets, if you're taking a bunch of goods somewhere, I want to see a more dynamic like price demand and type of flow on the markets that would influence people to, hey, this contract to transport, it's a hot area, but if we can punch it through, we're actually going to be able to split our 5-man crew and make money. We'll actually be able to do something with that versus the people like, hey, if we catch this guy coming to the station, there's a contract here, and we can stop him. More of an EVE Online aspect from that thing. So you can look at the price charts like, oh, they had high demand for this. Let's watch for caterpillars coming through, and they're going to try to stop them. Just little nudges from the game to like influence the gameplay that they're going to be introducing to us with 318. Little things to help support those systems, I think, would be huge, because there's a lot of gameplay there just in this 318 that a lot of us have been waiting years for, myself included. It's
I
just
swear to God, though, if I have to open a spreadsheet to play this game, I'm done.
we'll get the Google spreadsheets out. Let's go. So I think just low level shooting low with stuff like that. I really hope that they make the decision, if they do not get it to where we can get the jump gates up, if they're not fully done with server meshing at the beginning of next year into this year, I hope they make the decision to where on the stupid menu I could drop down and choose Stanton or going to Pyro. I don't care if that's what it is for right now. The main reason I want Pyro is not that, hey, I want more locations, just Pyro is the home for pirates. Really, that of what we're going to have the dynamics. And I think you have riskier stuff going on over there, and I think that'll help spread the community out a little more to where you'll have that different type of risky gameplay versus a safer gameplay in different areas. A little bit more. It won't be perfect. You can still turn off comm units and go gank people if you wanted, and in Stanton. But having Pyro there as an entity with maybe some more of the combat will go that way for people like myself. It might make it a more playable and survivable game for people, I think. So
Can I amend mine real quick?
yeah.
Something super simple that I don't even know if I don't even think it's on the roadmap, but I would love to see any sort of exploration gameplay. I want my character to be useful. I would love to discover something. I don't know, like something other than Benny Hinge.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. All right. Let's go ahead and we'll bring in the lovely chat. So if you have some extra questions, it'll populate here in a second. You guys are welcome to go ahead and ask them. I saw there was one question. Let me scroll back to it here.
I don't think that was an actual question.
Which one? Oh, the where's the wine?
Yeah, the
No.
peak playtime one. That was in there.
No.
I think it wasn't from Scott.
I had one from Scott at 3:17. This is 21:17.
I don't know. If you have a question, ask it now.
Yep, just throw it in there.
Because I have all the answers about the game, so I
All
will
of
tell
them.
you.
He's got them lined up.
It was that.
I'll
one.
fill the time. Luke, when was the last brisket you cooked?
It's been a while.
Which
Been a
one?
while. I've been cooking, but not brisket.
I got chat pause.
I'll get back to the brisket at some point.
I think the last stream I saw of yours was the one where you had that backpack thing and you were walking around.
Oh, in the yeah, that was like a year and a half.
We can do Scorpion's question.
Oh,
that was from Scott from earlier.
Oh yeah, we already answered that one though, didn't we?
Did we?
I think
Yeah,
that
we
was
went
the
like
intro
since
question.
2020.
Yeah.
I think peak playtime for me was 2018, 2019. Peak SpaceBro time.
Yeah, I'd say my peak time was 2017, 2018.
My
I
peak
played.
playtime was right up until they put in grenade indicators and fucked grenade.
Right.
Still salty about that.
Yeah, I played consistently until like 2020, I think ish.
There you go. How many people would vote for a kill by elevator counter on screen?
Wait,
It
how
would
many
take too much focus away from server meshing.
Yeah. Remember like back in the I think it was existed all the way into 3.0, but the what's the gas refuel ship? Can't remember anything about this game anymore.
Starfarer?
Starfarer, thank you.
Those work now, by the way.
Yeah, you can refuel.
Oh,
No
they
one
do.
remembers.
Oh, well, that's
Yeah.
cool. There was always that corner on the staircase
Yeah,
where if
you
you
can't
walk through it,
manufacture
all
your
of
own
it-
fuel, but you can take your gas truck to a gas station.
I do miss that corner, Luke.
fill it
Yeah.
up and then go
You'd have
fuel
to
other
hug the
people.
left side,
Yeah.
and you'd
always
watch everyone who
bring new
didn't
people in the
know.
game and give them a tour, and then you wouldn't tell them about it, and they'd be you're like, whoop, sorry.
The
Right.
death corner.
Yeah. Sorry.
All right, next
So I like
question
this
here.
question.
Yeah, would you like to see more temporary crafting stations added to other ship types, like one for the mole that lets you craft mining gadgets for the cost of a certain amount of materials?
Yes,
And-
is the answer to that. Yes.
Yeah, and I think what they're referring to is the fact that they're going to add the ability to craft a multi-tool in the Drake Vulture.
No, it
It'll
exists.
It's there
cost a
now on
lot.
PC.
It's in there now. Yeah.
It's in there now.
Yeah, on PC
Yeah.
it's there.
They
Yeah,
snuck
it's
it
there.
in like literally the update right before Christmas.
Yep.
And didn't say shit about it. It was just
Right.
Oh wow,
Do you even play,
didn't-
bro?
I didn't know that.
It's
So yeah,
in there.
that's
Well,
in there.
because they snuck it in the patch before we all started falling through elevators immediately. So most people logged
Yeah,
in like a
maybe.
week later going, well, what the hell? Get to it.
Yeah,
I do
mean,
want to
think-
see them expand that a lot.
Elevator
their
deaths?
language was interesting with that, though. They kind of made it sound like it's a very temporary. They're not going to do this permanently type thing, you know. And
did they
and all
only
that.
put it in there because people
So-
weren't having grav guns on them to move the boxes?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
probably.
think so.
But my guess is this type of thing is gonna survive, and this type of thing is gonna be part of
I
the
hope
game
it
because
does.
the game needs crafting.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think this
Yeah.
is like the entry
I
drug
want
for them
my-
to get in there.
I want my workshop on my character to let me actually go in
What?
there and build something.
Well,
the
I mean, there's
perspective-
supposed to be whole like tinkering aspects of the game, like
right.
with tweaking parts and overclocking and all that
Yeah,
jazz.
overclocking
Absolutely.
the freaking desk we could buy way back, and the workbench you could buy like way back.
We don't
before any
speak of
you
it. That never
guys-
existed.
Never, yeah.
It's not a
No.
real thing. Yeah.
Man.
My question to CIG would be if they decided to, kind of do what we're talking about and leave that type of mechanic in, what would it hurt? Would it damage the economy in some way? I don't know. I mean, maybe there's
Well,
something
yeah,
we're not
It's so
seeing, but-
expensive. It
you're
costs
certainly
the
not
whole
taking out the great-
SCU.
You're not
Yeah.
taking out the whole great gold sink of buying a $4 grav gun.
Right. That's
I mean,
what
the
I'm saying. I don't
multi-tools you
think-
can find in every chest, in every
Yeah.
bunker, and every
Mhm.
spot on the planet. Yeah.
Right.
And manufacturing things right now on the Vulture is significantly more expensive than it is to just go buy.
Very. Yeah.
right.
Yeah, and that might be fine. If crafting was more expensive, like in resources, you know what I mean? Which would
Yeah.
kind of probably be somewhat realistic.
I think they kind of
Yeah.
have it that way too. You spend a chunk of resources to make those guns in the Vulture. It's not
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it'd be cheaper to go buy it. I'll put it
Yeah.
that way. But
Okay,
since you're there
yes.
crafting it,
I will say this about the Vulture, and it's really sad that this is one thing that I'm excited about, even more so than the crafting, is that I can watch the screen, the indicator screen, fill up because I'm the box guy moving the boxes, right? I can watch it and know when it's going to spit out another box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that I
Yeah.
can watch a screen on a ship do something correctly
it's pretty
when I'm
impressive.
not the pilot, that's awesome.
That
It
is awesome.
amazing. Yeah.
I can't,
It's-
that's one thing I really hope comes this year is them figuring out multiplayer gameplay.
I really hope so too, because and I was talking to, I won't say his name because he's a much larger streamer, but I was talking to one of my buddies, and we were talking. Star Citizen came up, and he's backed for probably about 3K or something over time and whatnot, and he's super salty, and he's just like, I'll play it when it's an actual released in games. Same thing, as a lot of people are. And I was telling him about some of the things that came up, like salvaging. I said, yeah, and I always downplay stuff, like everybody here does. We downplay it because we don't want people to like oversell and come in disappointed. I was like, oh, it's like power washing kind of, but it's fun. It's still, you can kind of relax and do this stuff and all that. He's
make
like, well,
decent coin.
yeah. And he told me, he asked me, does the reclaimer work? I said, yes, the reclaimer works. He's like, but does the claw work? I was like, no, not yet.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I don't care. I'm like, at some point, it's like not even worth talking about it because it's like some people are so salty unless the ship has like a warranty sticker on it and everybody can do everything they wanted and make cake in the kitchen.
Yeah, but good and well, ever since that thing came in 3.1, we've all been wanting to play Hungry Hippos with that damn claw and
everybody does because it's the main phallic feature of the damn ship is this huge gaping claw to crush things. Everybody's like, until I crush people with the claw, I don't care. It's like I get it. I understand. All right, this question here is maybe they should add blueprints to the game so that we have to buy blueprints to be able to make our components and then rip out all the components from the vendors.
Those aren't questions.
This is a dual universe.
This is a dual universe saltiness.
Yeah. Right.
We were discussing.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. We'll put in a statement. Do you think that's even a possibility that they'll consider?
This thing destroyed dual universe, by the way. Like, everybody had built these massive factories, and then they went and changed it so that you couldn't do anything unless you went and bought the blueprints. And that made you have to go think Satisfactory level factories that were built, and you had to go rip them all out and rebuild them. And a lot of people, myself included, was just like, F that, I'm out.
Quit.
Yeah, that was the moment I was like, yeah, I don't care how good it gets now. It's done in my eyes.
Well, now they have like 10 active players.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it just wasn't engaging either. I mean, I get its lower graphics and all that stuff, but that can be forgiven. You look at games like Valheim and stuff, and some people come in and go, this isn't very good looking, but it's got a lot of fun mechanics and all that stuff. Dual Universe had a lot of opportunity to be something better than it was, but they made some development decisions, not focusing on combat at all, and then trying to bolt on features on the back end, ruin the game. Because even if you don't want to participate in combat, it's a driving economic force this game is designed to do. We'll do it later.
The first test release was designed primarily for like manufacturing and building. That was like the key focus. Mm-hmm. And so that kind of pissed off all the combat players because there wasn't so much there for them. But then they turned, and rather than starting to add bits of combat, they turned around and fucked all your industry people. And now everybody's like, well, what's left? You took the good stuff that was there because it was a great game. I enjoyed it when it first came playable.
We played the shit out of it for months.
This is great. Yeah, it was great. But then they went back and they broke everything that they allowed you to make. And it was like, okay, I'm done.
Then,
I'm not going to
the owner
spend that many hours on it.
And sold it. And
oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to it than just what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's a sad state.
Yep. All right. I think this one's probably going to be, and we'll see if it's an actual question. It says, there is a question in there. Since I missed my hanger, would you all like to see hanger customization added somewhere in the PTU? Like hanger instance, you could go to.
You said the dirty word.
So.
He said instance.
Yeah, he did.
So
I would fucking love
that was supposed to happen, right? Like your hangar was supposed to be a thing, but what held it back, at least what they said held it back, was cargo elevators. They didn't have the cargo elevators ready, so they didn't think it made sense to have a hangar to store stuff if you had no way to get the stuff into the station to sell. So that was kind of like the holding point. I don't think it was going to be instanced, but they had some sort of plan for you to have a hangar that you could do just that with.
I think that was the problem. I think that they don't want them to technically be instanced, right? Because there's so much room. They figured they could have.
No, they want everything physicalized.
Right, including the hangars. So I think that was the main sticking point of slowing down on any of the hangar stuff. Because they essentially
have all this hangar flair.
And they're trying to reel that back to physicalized, and it's just one of those pillars or branches that they're not working on right now because it's
Just let me put my Benny's machine somewhere so I can go get something out of it. Like that's it. That's all I want.
I want the hanger back.
I'm salty about that. I'm a vent. We got
Go for it.
how long ago? Big Benny's was the thing, right? Like, I mean, and we still don't have. I still can't in game
give Tickles the big.
Get me some Benny's, right? Why not? Why do the vending machines not work?
Right. I don't know.
Because the developer that was going to work on that is now working on the grass on the third planet in Pyro.
On the moon.
Oh, right.
I just need some noodles in my life.
But so I definitely miss the hangers. I miss them a lot. We had them back in the beginning. That's all we had. And it was so cool. That's where the Gray Cat came from, because the hangers were so big. If you had a bunch of ships that you needed to have the Gray Cat buggy to drive along the hangar,
and they gave you ramps
that was
and boxes
fucking
and
amazing.
Stuff.
You had a ramp that you could jump on, and and then we had a menu option where you go to your hangar instead of the other stuff. Yeah, the shooting gallery. Yeah.
The only problem with those hangars, though, is they were as big as all the ships you had. So if you had a lot of ships, the game would almost barely function.
So but there's so many people now that have never even been into their hangar. Do you believe that? That's crazy, right? So yeah, hopefully they're working on them and they're just going to get the cargo stuff figured out, and we're going to get them soon. But yeah,
I've got something controversial to say.
Oh, go for it.
In regards to what you just said, I feel like we've almost had, and I know some stuff's going to come back, right? But some stuff's not. I feel like we've almost had more content taken away from us than given to us. If you think back about the life of the game up to and including the hangars.
Yeah.
And the original hangars and the shooting gallery and the box jump thing. And I mean, the fact that you could expand your hangar.
Not to mention a functional Starmarine,
Tessa,
things like that, right?
Yeah.
We've had a lot of stuff taken from us that we've never seen again.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, look, the ICC missions, one of them, I forget whether it was 9 or 10, I think 9 maybe, where you actually faced up against the Vandal. That was freaking amazing.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
For me, it was like all the bugs, like what kept me in the game. You know what I mean? I love the bugs, and like not all of them, not the crashy
flying
bugs.
into Daymar, and I mean like
we used to go
into
to the center of moons and like play around with like the point gravity at the center of moons, or like and I don't know, just a lot of those kind of weird, funky bugs. Even backwards quantuming was fun. Like and the further you got outside the solar system, the ship started like losing.
I still have those clips, man. You turn into a spaghetti man.
yeah. And I don't know. I mean,
how about being able to quantum anywhere without a destination?
Yeah, they fixed all the bugs that were fun, and then didn't add any new bugs that were fun. And I don't know.
Don't worry, it's coming back as a new feature, even though we already had it. So don't worry.
I know, right?
Just like the flight model, it's coming back as a new feature that we already had. Now that we've been around the world.
Let me know when grenades are coming in as a new feature, so I can get back.
Sorry,
to it.
I didn't mean to resaltify everybody.
Yeah,
no, it's all good. I mean, you're right to some degree, right? I mean, they could literally. I mean, honestly, as a going back to your notion of exploration, right? They could easily start to expand into exploration by kind of reintroducing some of those ICC missions, right? Where it's literally like we're being led by the nose in some of these like stories, right? Yeah. So, and some of that for me is missing because we actually had those then where it felt like there was actually a universe out there and those stuff happening and we were being included. They have it a little bit now with like the combat assist stuff.
What's that one? The Idris, the javelins being attacked.
Yeah, they have those, and they have like the combat assist ones, the low, medium, high. Those are pretty good. They don't get as in depth as the ICC ones, but I kind of agree. I have to believe that they have the whole lore team. They have all these storytellers that want to tell these stories. I have to believe that this is stuff that they want to do. I just feel like they're not at the place they can do that yet because of the current state of the servers and everything. So I hope that that's the case.
Yep.
No, that just made me think of that. That's why I was like, I think we've had a lot of stuff taken from us that we've just poof gone.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't appreciate that because I believe there's a cycle of people who back the game because they're very interested in it. They play it through that patch or throughout the year, and then they they come to the conclusion before us because we have the anchor as content creators to want to stay longer, right? Because we
Mhm.
have a chat to interface with us, people to keep us interested. We're showing new people the game. So the lifespan of a content creator in Star Citizen is much longer than a regular, I would argue, player, right?
Honest to
they're
God,
like,
if I wasn't a content creator, I wouldn't still be playing the game.
right. So that's a lot of people. That's the way it is. If you're just a regular gamer or backed, and then you played a little bit, and then it didn't go anywhere for 3 months, you'd probably move on to play something else. Maybe come back to it during patches or whatever, but you're probably going to be done with it. So a lot of people don't have the same scope of sight we do, where we've seen these things come in and go away. You talk about like hangars and stuff. There's guys I know out there that you guys had hangars, like you could
guys are
walk
getting
in? Like, yeah, they don't even know about
We
that.
had hangers.
Yeah.
Had hangers, put stuff in it, had a whole wet bar in mine. I could walk up to it, get drunk in my hangar, stumble around the hangar. There was a whole effect. It was
Sometimes there were fish all over your hangar,
Yeah.
swimming around.
Yeah.
Yes. But
If you were lucky, you could get a ship to spawn in there.
Exactly.
If you knew right on the right point on the floor where to click.
Yep, exactly.
Yes.
Finding the little notes. I love that on the floor of
You
your
could
hangar.
put your posters on the wall. You had your fish tank.
Oh, wait, but that's a size 2 wall, so you can't put that there because that's a size 2 wall, and this is a size 1 item.
But, you know, not to sound like the grumpy old man in the room, but like, what was so wrong with Cryastro? Like, why can't they just put Cryastro around the freaking? It doesn't have to be at a Lagrange point. Just have it out there.
Have it floating somewhere. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or put it at a Lagrange point. Maybe I don't have to go in and land at the freaking station. Maybe I just want to get gas real quick and be on my way without getting a hot dog.
Yep.
This time.
Or any Benny's noodles because you can't get
and then
those.
you have
so don't worry.
Starfarers. Luke didn't even know that refueling was in.
Well,
shit.
Nobody knows refueling is in because
No,
nobody actually
but
does
it works and it's a fantastic
did it
feature. But the
once.
thing is,
Well, when you have one star system to go to, you don't really need to get gas like going
That's
out.
what
When
I'm
the
saying.
Starfarer sucks to walk around in.
It's
just
true.
saying.
That's never changed, though. I mean, that's been normal. The reason we all use Starfare is because it was the first capital ship everybody called it.
do you
Remember? 'Cause
guys
it was the big
remember
thing? It was
when
hilarious.
they first came in? And you would know when someone spawned one because the server would grind to a halt.
Yeah.
You get like 4 FPS, but like, oh, someone got their Starfarer out.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. You know, another thing I really miss in all this reminiscing is remember the screen at SPK to show you which airlock was opening?
Oh,
I
yes.
remember.
Dude, that was amazing.
That
we
was
monitor it.
awesome.
We monitor it all the time.
Oh yeah.
I
Now
was so
SPK's
pissed when
alive.
they
These
took that
damn
out.
kids and their SPKs.
How did that not find
Yeah,
its
they
way
have
back
no
into the
idea.
rework they just did? Like that
I don't
makes
know
sense,
because
right?
that was amazing. Yeah.
I remember my primary combat experience in the game was getting into Hornet, flying directly at Korea, ejecting before you get there, EVA fighting to get inside.
Yes.
That was the whole thing. It was like, because it's like, all right, going to Korea. All right,
All just to
eject out.
collect bottles of Radagast.
And,
Yep.
And once you were in, all hell broke loose.
Right.
I mean, we used to have the whole Space Bros fights, man. That was the good old days.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Gosh, we're like the grumpy old men of Star Citizen.
We are.
That's right.
Aren't we? Yes.
Back in my day, I used to get spaceships for nickel at a time and
These
fly
kids
around
these
the world.
days
Oh shit.
No, but
had
guys,
to walk 2 miles on Microtech.
right.
Microtech
Well, that's
wasn't
like
there,
when
guys.
someone's
Sorry.
like, "How long have you been playing the game?" I'm like, "Well, back since remember Hangers, the originals."
Well, my youngest child was born, and now he turned 11.
Remember the,
So
remember the beginner tutorial? Ooh.
Oh yeah. Hey, what was that game mode in Arena Commander called where you had to like race towards the center and grab the little energy bundle and carry it back to your end? You remember that?
I do. What
That
was
was
it?
I always thought that was amazing.
I remember
and,
it, but
and they took and it went away and it was just
Well,
gone.
I think that was before 2.6, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that was before they had the whole Grim Hex and
Arena
Ulsar and all that stuff.
Yeah, Arena Commander was in before 2.6, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For the
It
2 points.
It was like it was almost like a ship basketball type thing.
Yeah.
You had to go capture flag and deposit the enemy thing.
Yeah,
So you blitz
it
there,
was
and
cool.
some guys would just sit back and blow you up instantly. And
Yeah.
it was interesting.
Yeah.
It was interesting. Not a lot of long-term gameplay there, but I knew people who played it for hours and hours.
Dude, Arena Commander was all we had for a while there. Like I played that all the freaking time, man. It was great.
Mhm.
When it worked.
I've
well,
jumped
the
in
bad
with some
thing.
buddies once in a while, but again, because I'm not a big dog fighter, that wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm waiting until we can get out and do some stuff. So we're getting
So-
into my gameplay now.
I mean, that's something we didn't touch on
Mhm.
either right now, right? Like, to some degree, I don't really see the point in getting really heavily into combat right now either, because all that stuff's changing again, right? The flight models
Everything's going to change.
fully
Yeah.
changing again. We don't know when that's coming. So yeah,
It's the only consistent thing.
It's
Flight
Yeah,
model,
it
the only
will
constant
change.
is change.
very true. The flight
They're
model is
changing
changing.
it back to 2.6 though. They're calling
Are
it different. Oh, it's
no, not
I
fully, but
swear to God, it
Some
is.
people are gonna
Pretty
love it.
much, yeah. It's
It's
pretty.
with master modes, or we could call it
Yeah.
SCM. I mean, they're gonna do the same thing they had.
it's pretty
Right.
close. Yeah, I have to
Like,
admit.
But I'll give them this.
Didn't
They've
we
tried
call that
everything
earlier?
else.
We're going to do things
They've
like
tried
5
everything
years.
else.
It's just going to circle back around so
Yeah.
people forget.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it's going to be new people, so they'll just be like, "Oh, well, we'll try this then, and do this."
The
again."
combat was great back then, though. I have to say,
Listen.
the combat was great,
It
We
kind
should
of
have kept
was.
hover
Yeah.
mode. That's all I'm
I don't
saying.
have a problem with any
and
one
hover
of the
mode
fight
was
models.
great.
I
love hover
adapted
mode.
to every.
Anybody that hated
fight
hover
loved it.
mode, you're wrong. Hover mode was amazing. Yeah,
They were all fine. You just adapt.
Yes.
There's too many crybabies like, oh my god, I can't do the one thing to make the best pilot ever I used to be, and I'm like, come on.
and they
Doesn't
gave it
matter.
like no time at all. They just
No.
failed.
No,
on
it was like
immediately.
what is it? Like a
One
half a
week?
PTU patch.
It wasn't good. I don't even think
I
it was
love you guys.
like 1 week, and we're talking about pulling it already. It was hilarious.
I love that you guys are sitting here talking about flying, and Luke's like, "Fuck."
Looks like you guys are flying. You guys are like,
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I like every flight mode because they all end the same way for me.
No, honestly, that's one of the
Hashtag
reasons
Predator.
I love the hover mode. Hover mode was so much fun because the crashes were like way better. Like,
Yeah. Great. Well, guys, it's been fun. We're going to go ahead and probably start to wrap it up here, though. So I really do appreciate you all showing up. This has been a great reunion. It didn't seem like it's been that long, but it's been quite a while since we've done this, and it feels good. I like it.
we should do it again sometime.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it does. Not to get too sentimental here, but I think this was a really good group of people that all just really got along, and it was always kind of a loose knit group, but I think it was always really good. So this was really fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Agreed.
Well, let's go around the room real quick, and we'll see where everybody can find you guys. If you have any planned streams or doing content, or just follow you on social media so they can stay in tune with you and all that stuff. We'll start with Scorpion.
9 hours from now exactly, I will go live. Probably not playing Star Citizen though, because the PTU is a little bit of a mess right now. I'm going to wait for what comes after V. W. Wait for Whiskey to come out, and we'll go from there. Yeah, right down there. But yeah, every weekend morning, stop on by, check us out.
what are you gonna be playing?
Tomorrow, I think we're gonna do some more Ghost Recon Wildlands.
That's a good game. That's a solid game.
It's a really good game. Yeah, it's fun. And I
Definitely.
haven't
Better than
completed it yet,
Breakpoint.
so
Better
yeah.
than Breakpoint.
Yeah.
Oh, Breakpoint was terrible. Yeah, awful.
Yeah, I don't know what they did there, but
It's
something
bad things. Yeah.
bad things. All right, Sergeant Tickles.
You can find me right after this at that link down. Where is it? There. Over there.
Mhm.
You can find me on Twitter. I post stupid shit and workout videos. That's about it.
Yep.
I'm going to be
You go over
streaming.
there. You can find us our links, so make sure to go there after the show.
I'm going to be on right after this. Actually, I'm probably going to start up some 7 days. We're going to
nice.
mess around in there.
Cool deal. All right. Drones, you plan at any time soon to maybe do some content, or are you just kind of winging it now?
I don't currently plan. I just wing it. I occasionally go live, both YouTube and Twitch. I primarily focus on the YouTube side of it now, but I don't do any kind of recorded content. It's just typically live streams. Probably going to be doing Star Citizen and KSP, especially when 2 comes out, because we're
KSP is
February 24th. Kerbal Space Program.
I know, but not
the
everyone.
realistic physics stuff.
The second one.
Yeah.
The
So
second one's coming.
the second one's coming out soon, and it looks really, really good.
Like a whole new
Unfortunately, the
game,
early
not an
access.
expansion.
No, it's a whole new
No,
game.
whole new game,
cool.
KSP2. You got to watch the trailer, man. The trailer is hysterical. They are eventually going to have multiplayer. I'm still a little curious as how you do multiplayer with time warp stuff. So
Carefully.
we'll see what happens. But yeah, but February 24th, they're releasing the early access, which they've admitted is not going to be the full feature set. So, they're putting out a little bit. I'm going to play the hell out of it when it comes out. So I'm looking
I gotta say,
forward to that.
the only KSB I've ever seen is watching you, and you had a rocket you were building or something, and all of a sudden it just like started falling over, and you were like, no. And then it fell over and took off. It was
Sounds pretty Kerbal to me.
Are they adding multiplayer in this one? Is it like more?
Yeah, so that is planned long term. That is not planned
so
for
not
the
at
February
launch.
24th.
Yeah,
launch.
okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But that is
I'm interested.
on
We
their
should definitely
roadmap.
try playing some other games together too. There's so many games coming out. There's a lot.
Definitely.
So it'll be really fun. All right. And the few I've missed you. So
Hi.
Are you ever going to play video games again, or are you just done? You retired?
No, I will someday.
I can hack your account.
Yeah, I know. I have a lot of ships, so I should probably use them at some point. Yeah, I don't know. I've obviously a lot going on at work. I will possibly have time after we launch our new product in like May. I'm not sure. I mean, we'll see. But I do play a little bit. I've been playing like Anno every once in a while, like here and there, but not on stream.
So they should probably follow your social media more than anything, if they, so that way.
Yeah, I mean, sure. You can follow my social media. If you follow me on Twitch, you will eventually see me go live, because I will go live someday.
Yep. I caught you that last time I saw you when you was that been like a month or two ago or something? You like randomly popped up and I saw you. It's like,
and I'll still do those random streams. Like I still like jumping into SC and checking out what's changed and stuff like that. It's been very hard for me to commit to any real consistent gameplay.
Yeah, it's understandable. Understandable. Work's got to come first, man. So, all right. Again, thank you guys for all being here. Look at it. We actually made it exactly 2 hours. It's crazy.
That's amazing.
It's how much have we matured?
Everybody showed up. We hit the time marks. This is not a true SpaceBro show.
Correct. Because we didn't go over by an hour or two. Yeah.
I'm not actually. I'm not actually the few. Mitauchi's replacing me with an AI generated version of myself. That's why we're all.
The AI is really good because you only responded twice on Discord.
Well, there you go. There you go. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. Again, thank you all for showing up. I really do appreciate it. Guys, make sure you follow them on socials, on their YouTubes, and on their Twitches. We've been linking them off and on all night. This will go up on YouTube on my channel tomorrow. So if you missed it or you know somebody else did, hey, give us a retweet on that so we can put it out there and you guys can, spread the word that we had the reunion show. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you again. I appreciate each and every one of you. We're going to go ahead and get out of here, I think. So have a great night. Love your faces, and bye from all us.
Au revoir.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Mm-hmm.